There's a kind of magic to making memories, to finding time for the little things and the big things, the new things, and the things you'll do over and over again. It's the magic of a job well done and a well-deserved day of rest, of living life to the fullest with the people you'd never want to live without. Fairway, closed on Sunday, open for life.
Don't miss the biggest show of the summer, Kings of the West, starring Bone Thugs and Harmony. E40, Too Short, Mac 10, The Dog Pound, DJ Quick, Sugar Free, and Khadijah, live July 11th at Wells Fargo Arena. Don't miss Kings of the West with Bone Thugs and Harmony, E40, Too Short, DJ Quick, Mac 10, The Dog Pound, Sugar Free, and Khadijah. Get tickets now at HighVTix.com.
Iowa Fireworks Farm is Iowa's largest fireworks store. 6,000 square feet of hand-picked fireworks, over 50 brands, and 1,300 different products to choose from. But they're also family-owned and operated. Iowa Fireworks Farm is the one stop you need to make before July 4th. You'll find them just south of the Metro. Take I-35 to exit 43 at New Virginia. Head east and look for the Big Red Barn. At Iowa Fireworks Farm, the toughest part will be deciding what not to buy.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
What up? Welcome to Chris and Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. When the fireworks commercial comes on, I always think of what it would be like watching you try and set off. Would you know how to set off a firework?
Doing that was one of my favorite pastimes when I was in middle school. My buddy, who I eventually roomed with in college, lived in the same neighborhood. His name's Manny. He had family that lived in Mexico, so every year he would travel to Mexico and bring back just a bunch of illegal fireworks. And we would sneak out in the middle of the night, in the middle of summer, and we would light fireworks off at houses. I mean, we're talking like 1 a.m. here. We would light bottle rockets and shoot them down the street and run away from them as the bottle rockets hit our backs. We used to be crazy.
That reminded me of this story. I didn't drink until college. Like, I never, partied in high school. Like, I really didn't. I could look my kids in the eye and, God honest truth, tell them I didn't do that. So, it was the summer after my senior year, before I went to Iowa State. Okay? So, I had graduated high school, getting ready to go off to college. And my mom and dad, ironically enough, I think they were in Branson. Mom and dad had taken a trip. And they told me that I could have a party for my birthday. They were going to be gone on my birthday. They're like, yeah, you could have a few people over.
Really?
They thought that it would be just what I had always done.
Yeah.
Just, hey, let's watch the NBA Finals. Well, and I'm getting a little bit big for my britches at this point, and I invited 7 or 8 people, and one buddy was like, "Hey, do you mind if I bring some beer?" And I'm like, it's not my thing. I've never drank in my life. Whatever, it's fine. It's just gonna be a few of us. Nothing can happen. Well, in small town Iowa, how word gets around, right?
Oh, yes. Well aware.
So 7, 8 people turns into 14, and then 14 turns into 20. I remember looking out the window of my parent, and I'm panicked. Now, I'm not drinking, keep in mind, okay? And I remember looking at guys who were sophomores walking across the street with like a case of Busch Light, walking over to our, and I don't even like know these guys. Like I'm not even like friends with them. So I'm having like the worst time. I'm just like making sure everything is fine. Like I didn't want to ruin my parents' house. And some sons of bitches, and I still don't know who did it to this day, took probably $100 worth of firecrackers and lit them off in the street in front of my parents' house that night because they knew we were having a party.
Oh my God! Did you get caught after that? Like, did the cops come or what?
They didn't, but I kicked everybody out.
Jeez.
And then the worst part, is that a couple of friends had unknowingly put some beer in the freezer.
Jesus Christ.
So like 2 a.m., there's like a massive explosion. It was like that Titan submersible just completely imploded in the
oh my God,
in the freezer. Just a disaster. I was just totally honest with my parents. I'm like, yeah, and they were cool with it. Like, you know,
I had a very similar experience. Panic. I think it was my junior year of high school, and my dad. My parents divorced, so I lived in two separate places. So I was supposed to be at my dad's that night, but my dad was gone. My dad was out of town. Like, I don't know what he was doing, but I told my mom I was staying with friends or whatever. And so I went to my dad's house, and we had, over the course of the last few months, we had stashed a bunch of alcohol at my dad's house in my room, just waiting for a big blowout night. And I won't tell you how we got the alcohol, but we got it. And so we started inviting some people. We were thinking, there's probably 6 or 7 of us, kind of like yours. We'll invite a handful of other acquaintances, and we might get 15, maybe 20 people. Well, this was the night of a basketball game, a Muscatine Muskies basketball game. And so, back then, like all the students would go to the game. So word starts getting around. Old man Hassel's out of town.
Oh, yeah.
It's a free-for-all over there. So we're over there. The party's going. I mean, we had like my dad's subwoofers set up in the basement, just blasting music. And every alcohol you could ever want. And all of a sudden, I start seeing people I've never seen before.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
apparently some woman who was like an adult had a minivan and was shuttling a bunch of people over from the game to my dad's house. And they like 12 people would get out of the van and come in. And I had no idea who they were. A lot of them were smoking weed in the house. I mean, they were ash all over furniture.
Oh my God.
I throughout the night, I saw a man and a boy and a girl on top of my dad's washing machine.
Making love? Were they making love?
They were doing something. I found another man and boy and girl in my dad's bed. And then the biggest guy at the party, this guy named Sean, who was a guard on the football team, decides to basically crowd surf down the stairs without crowd, just the stairs. He's 300 pounds. He comes down the stairs. His huge ass just smashes into the wall, and there's a huge ass mark in the wall of the basement that is unfixable.
Oh, so it broke the drywall.
Oh yeah. And so there was no way I could cover that up. But I don't know what we were thinking. We thought, oh geez, when it's all said and done, let's clean everything up. Maybe he won't know for a while, and we can get our ducks in a row and whatever.
Oh, it always comes back.
My dad comes home, and the first thing he notices is the house is immaculate. And he's like, all right, what the hell happened? What did you do, Christopher? What did you do?
Because it's so weird that you cleaned.
Yeah. His bed's never been made that nicely. Spotless everywhere. Because we spent a lot of time the next day picking things up. And, I forgot to mention, some idiot locked himself upstairs in like my room, which was like kind of like an attic area, but there was a door that if you shut it, it would like lock and there's nothing you could do about it. So one of my other friends had to knock down the door right in front of my room that was going from the stairs to my room. And so that's all busted upstairs. You got the thing downstairs with the guy's ass in the plaster and the main level, which is immaculate. And so I just have to come clean. Look, I had a party.
Did the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, there's no use lying about it. He knew. Needless to say, that hole in the wall in the basement stayed there for a couple of decades.
Well, that guy's ass.
He never fixed it.
It's a good memory.
It was around that time that I stopped drinking. Like you said, you didn't drink until college. I did some experimenting when I was 15, 16, and then I didn't drink again until I was about 25.
I remember that.
Didn't have a drink in college.
It's probably good though, honestly. Like,
it didn't make any friends.
Your mind is so much more clear when you're not just getting hammered all the time.
That is true.
You know, we are feel bad putting any sponsor next. Channel C won't care. This sounds like a Dustin Fauch party.
Imagine the parties those seedsmen threw back.
Oh, I actually seen photographs of Fauch in college. Oh my God. Talk about a disaster. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. We are presented as always by our friends at Fairway Meat and Grocery. Skinless brats have taken over. It's taken over placenta everywhere I go now. Hey, keep up the good fight with the skinless brats, man. Thanks, buddy.
I still don't think you can get those down here. Like, I don't think you can go to the store and order a skinless brat. I think this is.
You should bring them to my resort this weekend and ask them to throw them on the grill. Bring your own meat.
What are these circumcised brats doing? Confiscate that thing.
So, just full disclosure, you're listening to this on Thursday. You're watching this on YouTube. We need you to subscribe to the YouTube as well while you're at it. This is a pre-recorded evergreen show. So if something like crazy happens, that's why we're not addressing it. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to see Chris in Florida. We kicked around doing a live show down there, but it's just too hard. Like, I've got 2 kids, so we're doing this with and we're going to do some mailbag questions. And if we have time, we're going to dive into some other things. That's the plan for today. I did have one real quick thing I want to go long on today, though.
Okay.
Can I do that?
It's time to go long with Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
So I'm just pointing out something that we've talked about a long time on Iowa Everywhere and my other platforms. And this came out on Tuesday. So Nielsen, most people have probably heard of Nielsen. They do basically they study the way people consume media. And they so like when the number comes out, 4 million people watch this Caitlin Clark game. Nielsen's the one who does those studies. For the first time in history, in the month of May, more people took in TV usage via streaming than cable and satellite, which is monumental for what we are trying to do here. YouTube is the biggest. The number of all the streamers there, YouTube was 12.5%, and then it kind of, the thing about streaming is it's so spread out the way people do it all. But again, more people are watching YouTube than any other mechanism, like a specific. So the actual numbers were streaming was 44.8%, broadcast and cable combined to be 44.2%. But isn't that staggering? Like, I'm not surprised by it.
I'm trying to think of my own habits now, and Yeah, almost everything I do, unless it is a live sporting event on a broadcast network, because we watch a lot of stuff on ESPN Plus and a lot of stuff on Paramount Plus or what have you. I'm not watching a lot on regular TV anymore. I mean, maybe I'll throw on the local news every now and then or the nightly news. But if it's not a game, I mean, everything I do, whether it's consuming, a podcast on everywhere on YouTube, or watching something on Netflix. Like I'll just go to Monday night this week, for instance. I watched Murph and Andy on YouTube for an hour when I was working out. Just had it up on the TV on YouTube. And the only other thing that we watched was 2 parts of a documentary on Netflix. Never once went to...
Oh, yeah, let's see what's on TV.
Yeah, never once did that.
I don't either. It's kind of how I am in my car, too. Like, I don't ever think, oh, let's see what's on the radio.
Look, I just outed myself for not watching the NBA Finals Game 5. I didn't watch it.
I had it on for the first quarter. It wasn't a very good game.
Yeah,
I took Tiffy for a walk, and I didn't turn it back on.
You didn't miss any Tyrese Halliburton points.
I heard. Jeez.
Well, field goals anyway.
Well, I just wanted to. That's what I'm going long on with our friends from Wealth Charter is this streaming thing and what we're building here. Like I truly, I believed it from day one. To get this report in my email this morning was really validating what not only we're doing, but where the whole industry is going. For
reference, where were we, say, however many years ago when you launched Iowa Everywhere?
I don't know.
What are we at, 2 years or 3 years? I can't even remember right now.
That'll be 3 in August.
Almost 3 years. Okay.
I don't have those numbers.
Time's flying.
I don't have those numbers in front of me. I do know that the YouTube thing has really popped in the last 2 years. That wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is now when we started. Because I'm seeing it with Cyclone Fanatic too. I mean, it's super similar. Yeah, Aiden has a graph pulled up here from Nielsen as far as that goes. That goes back to May of 2024, and it was below 40%. So I would guess when we started this, it was at below 30%.
Yeah, that's what I would guess too, below 30 for streaming.
And then you just keep having people adapt it, and then they figure it out, and you're like, this is so much better. Like I have a Starlink. Like I used to, when I went camping, I used to set up this Dish Network satellite thing that would be like it. And then I got a Starlink, and it was like, I don't want to spend the money, whatever. And I got it, and it saves me 2 hours every camping trip. It works so much better. I can control it all and now I'm like, I can't believe I ever did that. I can't believe I never just invested in the Starlink before. Well, and I feel like that's what a lot of people, when they use YouTube TV for the first time, they're like, oh, this is way better. You just So I'm going along with Wealth Charter, Retirement, and Tax today. You should go along too, plan your family's future, all that good stuff. They can help you over at Wealth Charter. Going along on the streaming. All right. So we have these mailbag questions, a ton of them. So you put it needs to be clarified, a fake photograph. You doctored a photograph that you put on the Twitter.
What are you talking about? It's a real photograph from when I was back.
The problem is half of our audience
summer
thought it was real, and all these people were making fun of me. That's like half the answers to the mailbag question are people like, oh my God, Williams is fat, and look at this.
But that's what you looked like last year.
Half of the responses are people who thought it was real. It's so funny, how AI can just trick these people.
What are you most offended by in this picture? What pisses you off the most looking at yourself?
Well, I think just everything. I look like a little person. It makes it look like you're like my daddy. I kind of look like a mini me thing. I'm so
Somebody
wide.
said
I'm so wide.
Somebody said that you look like an appendage of me. You're just like hanging off the side of me.
Look at that. Look how small my legs look. And I do have small legs. One guy was like, "Man, that testosterone, he's skipping leg day." Is that how much tea is too much? There's all these people, and then like half of them got it, and they're laughing about it.
The backstory here is the original picture had a little bit of a optical illusion to it because I'm standing a little bit in front of you. So the original picture, and this was from when I came back last August?
Yeah, this is at the Niang thing.
So we got a lot of comments from the original picture, like, Williams, are you shrinking? Like, what? You look so small. And so each time I've posted this picture, I've doctored it just a little bit. I think Van Woke doctored it a little bit too at some point. So now we're into like maybe the 7th or 8th iteration of the doctoring and just making you look a little bit worse. So this time I made your midsection a little bit wider. A little bit
I'm
wider.
like a spear.
And I made your legs a little bit skinnier.
Oh my God.
Just a little bit skinnier.
Look how like baggy those shorts look on me.
You're all, but I didn't, you were
up.
Already bow-legged. Your feet, your toes pointing in opposite directions. Your knees are almost knocking. Originally, I had some good stuff to work with. I'll just put it that way. But an appendage of me.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Well, again, so I'm going through and finding these mailbag questions, and I'm having to sift through just all the comments about my legs and it was staggering to me how many, I have lost a lot of weight, so it's not that staggering, because I was pretty round there for a while. But how many people thought it was real? They were like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with his legs?" And God damn, was I that big? All right. Aiden, do you want to just throw these things up? You kind of have all the pictures and everything.
Yeah, anything goes. Anything goes.
Aiden, call the shots. So this comes from Jeff Chalstrom, I believe is his name, Chalstrom. I like this one a lot. I started college in the fall of 2000. And this is like a Dear Abby, it feels like. I started college in the fall of 2023 at Iowa State with Williams. I came to Iowa State a big Iowa fan, but was willing to give Iowa State a try. My time in Ames only drove my Iowa fandom higher. I lived with 2 other guys that were huge Hawk fans, attended more Iowa football games than Iowa State. Does this also happen in Iowa City? P.S. Austin Flynn told me to fuck off on the Orange Route Ride the Monday after Iowa beat Iowa State in 2006 because I was proudly wearing a Go Hawks t-shirt.
Wow, so that guy stuck with it. Went to Iowa State, stuck with it being an Iowa fan, roomed with other Iowa fans. To answer that question, no, I don't think that happens in Iowa City. But I will also say, I don't think that happens as much in Ames as it used to.
Totally agree with that.
I mean, you lived at Williams, and you were one of the people that went there as an Iowa fan and converted right away.
Yeah, and I had a totally different experience. I don't know, just sitting in my brain, the way I think, I don't know how you could go attend a college and not cheer for that college. Because you become a part of it. It becomes a part of you.
Depends how attached you are to the college.
It did to me. But not for me, though, Chris. The first week on campus, I was like, I'm an Iowa State fan.
What was it that made you turn instantly?
It was because I felt like I was a part of it.
Did you meet any other people like that were also Iowa fans?
Oh, there were
other. Stay that way.
There were other guys, yeah, but not in my direct circle.
I would think that if I went to Iowa State, and I never even considered Iowa State for a few different reasons. One, it was a little too far away from Muscatine. I wanted to be closer to home. I wanted to be the farthest away would be like you and I, which was, I don't know, an hour, 45 minutes or so. I ended up going to Mount Mercy in Cedar Rapids, which was an hour away. St. Ambrose, where I went eventually, was only 30 minutes away. I didn't want to go that far away. I didn't really know anything about Iowa State. Nothing. Other than what my dad had told me about what a shithole it was. And there was nothing there. And it just sounded horrible. But if I went there, like if there was a major there that I just had to go to, or if I got a scholarship and I just had to go, you're right. I think I would seek out maybe a pod of people that were also Iowa fans. And if you had that, then maybe you could stay that way. But if you were surrounded by Iowa State fans and you were living on that campus, I think that would be really hard.
Well, there's part of the like human nature where the mob mentality thing. So what happened with me is like I went to the first Iowa State football game. I think they played like you and I or somebody, and
probably
they won.
Got their ass kicked.
They won, but they weren't very good. My first year, and I felt like I was cursed because I had waited my whole life for Iowa to be good. I literally decided that I was going to Iowa State for clearly like all academic purposes. This is the only reason because I was going to go to Iowa. Okay. I had a roommate picked out, everything, and I changed my mind because I went on an Iowa State and I truly loved the campus. I truly just loved the place. And I made the decision based on that. And I liked their like broadcasting department better than Iowa. It wasn't solely based on that, but whatever. And I remember going to that first game, and it felt so cool to like be in the student section, and like I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. Then they play Iowa comes to town the next week. Why I felt like I was cursed was because I decided to go to Iowa State, and then Iowa's going to the Orange Bowl, has a Heisman contender. I'm like, so my whole fucking life I've wanted this. Now I'm going to the enemy, and Iowa's going to become good. Mm-hmm. And then Iowa State, when I decided I was going there, they were like 6-0 in 2002, right? They're in the top 15. It was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then they fucking lose to Oklahoma 45-0. So I'm like, I am literally like a curse. Whatever. Yeah. But I remember going to that Cyhawk game that he's talking about, or I remember going to the 2003 one. Iowa killed them. It wasn't even
like
going to be
40-21 or something like that.
And I remember like I had an Iowa State shirt on, and I did wear like an Iowa undershirt, like because I felt dirty, like rooting against. And by the end of that game, I fucking hated Iowa so much.
Huh.
Just because I was with all my like students and like my friends, and like they were all like, so no, it just completely. Again, like I can't imagine going to a campus, living on the campus, going to school somewhere, and like hating that team. Like, because to me, I don't. And this is where I think Iowa and Iowa State fans, not all the time, but I think they are vastly different in how they view their fandom. Because I do feel like Iowa State for the long, and it's changing now. I think what you said is accurate. It is changing now.
I think Jamie Pollard's changed that.
Yeah. Well, but back then, like it was hard to be an Iowa State fan. The games weren't on TV. Mm-hmm. You weren't as good. Like there's nothing sexy about it. But the one thing you had to cling to was like the relationship you had with your camp. And most people who are Iowa State fans went to Iowa State. Their dad went to Iowa State, or they were farmers. Iowa had all these casual fans who literally just rooted for the uniform, right? They're Hawkeye fans.
And a lot of people weren't even from Iowa that went to Iowa. They're Chicago.
Correct. It was a much more
came there and became Iowa fans.
Casual relationship that they had with the university itself. Mm-hmm. Not the teams, but the university itself, where Iowa State fans have like this passionate love for the university, and then it extended out to the teams. Now, again, I think that's different now. Like, I think Iowa State has a lot more of these like rogue internet fans, which is fine. You need that, like especially in today's day and age. But that's how I've always viewed this, and because I was the same way growing up. Like I was a Hawkeye fan. We went to Hawkeye games, but we had no connection to that university. None. Like it would have made more sense for us to be Nebraska fans. They were in the top 10 every year, and they were an hour and a half from my house.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, my dad didn't go to Iowa. My grandpa went to Iowa, but his dad back in like 100 years ago, went to Iowa State. But they were 30 minutes away. And we went to games and we watched every single game. And it was our professional team in the state.
I rooted for Iowa because of Jim Zabel and my uncle, and that was about it. Like, I listened to every game. I listened to Sound Off. Iowa State had nothing like that. You couldn't follow them. Even when I was in college, I remember in 2004, McCarney got them back. I think they won the Independence Bowl that year. They were like 7-5 and I remember down the stretch, like, we were trying to follow Iowa State to get to a bowl game. And you had to listen to Walters and Heff. You could not watch most of the games. And that's not that long ago. So
pretty wild. That's
a good mailbag, though. I don't judge people like that either. Again, I just don't, like, in the way I think and the way I feel about that university. Me and my wife have 3 degrees from there, that we're really close with the vet school there and everything going on up there. It's like I have, like, this connection to it. So I'm a biased person when it comes to answering that. You go to Freedom Tire up in Ames, by the way. They don't have a Freedom Tire in Iowa City, but they have Freedom Tires all over Des Moines. They do have one up in Ames. Give them a shout out. Tell our friends at Freedom Tire that you're hanging out with them because of Iowa Everywhere. We appreciate their support. All right, Aiden, what do we got next?
I was going to say, before we move on, I found the original picture to clear the air.
The original.
Boy, I do look pretty freaking small.
Yeah, that's how it started. That's how it is now. Yeah,
they are just really, like, subtle changes.
Yeah, it's subtle. Each time, subtle. That's how you do it. Just slow changes over time, and some don't notice it.
I'm pretty sure one of the Kaburskis took that picture.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And he's, like, shooting it down as well, so it makes me look even smaller.
Well, Aiden says he did, but the Kaburskis were right there.
I have, like, 4 on my camera roll.
Oh, it's nice. You. Okay.
Yeah.
The Kaburskis were just hammered at that thing.
All right, next question. Ooh, I like this one. From Fullback U. I believe he's an Iowa fan. Rank these 5 quarterbacks, and it's a mixture of Iowa and Iowa State quarterbacks over the last 15 years.
Are we ranking them, like, strictly off of their college careers?
Yes. College career. Okay? What they did at Iowa and Iowa State. So here we go.
Brock Purdy and...
Wait, let me list them.
Yeah, sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, that was rude.
All right, so there's 2 Iowa State quarterbacks. You named one. Brock Purdy and Rocco Becht. There's 3 Iowa quarterbacks. C.J. Beathard, Ricky Stanzi, and Nate Stanley. Let's rank them 1 through 5.
Well, real quick, can we both agree that Stanley and Beck would probably be 4 and 5 in some capacity? Or it comes down to Stanzi and Purdy, doesn't it, to be number 1?
To me, yes, it does.
I mean, to me, that's pretty clear.
It does.
And because Rocco's not done yet, he has a chance to. But, like, I don't know. Like, I do not put Stanzi and Purdy both won major bowl games. And, like, Beathard to me was always untapped potential. It was like I thought he could have been so much better than he was, but they fucked him up so bad.
I think a lot of Iowa fans are going to argue that Beathard is the best of the Iowa quarterbacks. I don't think so. I think he had one really good season. Career? I mean, just there. I think it's kind of a little bit of both.
He should have been playing over Rudock so much earlier. Like, they screwed him up bad, in my opinion.
But then he gets hurt and he's out there limping around, banged up. He was a shell of himself at the end of his Iowa career because Ferentz wouldn't take him out of the game and let him recuperate. I would say of those Iowa quarterbacks, yes, I would put Stanzi ahead of Beathard, ahead of Stanley. So Stanzi 1, Beathard 2, Stanzi 3 for Iowa quarterbacks.
And Stanley, like, just totally regressed.
Stanley was, I think, better than some remember.
He was better as a sophomore than he was as a senior.
Stanley would make some really great throws, but he had a propensity to overthrow the wide open receiver down the middle of the field. I think Stanley is closer to Beathard than Beathard is to Stanzi.
I would agree with you.
But if you're going to put the Iowa State quarterbacks in there, if I just had to take one,
I'm putting Brock Purdy number 1. I'm going Purdy, Stanzi,
yes,
Beathard.
I'm going to do the same thing because what Stanzi didn't have was the ability to run like Purdy. Purdy could buy more time. Purdy could run for the first down. Stanzi didn't have that. And Stanzi also had some damn good receivers.
Well, my argument for Purdy, I think you kind of agree based on what you just said, is that, man, he was doing, like, he had good talent around him, don't get me wrong. Like, they had really good talent. He had Breece Hall, David Montgomery for a while, but he was asked to do so much. I mean, he was basically calling plays out there. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's why I would give him a nod, where Stanzi's, the offense wasn't as quarterback heavy, but I loved Stan. I loved watching.
I did too. I think Stanzi's definitely my favorite Iowa quarterback over the last 19 years since Tate. I mean, Tate really regressed.
It's crazy how bad some of how good those guys started, and they just kept getting worse. Beathard's my favorite Iowa quarterback, I think. I loved watching him play. I had just started on KXNO, like when that whole thing was, and I was so pissed every day that he wasn't playing. Because you could just see, and in his pro career, he just lasted a long time.
Aiden, throw that question up again. So let's just do the definitive ranking of these quarterbacks. So number 1 is Purdy. Number 2 is Stanzi. Number 3, Beathard, right?
Yeah, I would go Beathard. Rocco has the opportunity to jump him this year.
I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Man,
I'm going to put Rocco
between Stanley and Rocco.
I don't know. It's hard because Rocco's not done.
No, you're right. He's not.
Like, I don't know. Put Stanley first, and let's see what Rocco does.
All right, Stanley 4, Rocco 5. There's some bulletin board material for Rocco Beck, who just got ranked last out of these quarterbacks.
I think Rocco, with another really good year, could pretty easily jump to number 3.
I think you're right.
So I think that's the fair thing to do to Rocco. Really, that Rocco's got to get his completion percentage up, and he's got to cut down on the bad turnovers.
What was he, 59% last year?
Yeah, he's got to be closer to 65%, especially with the tight end offense that they're going to have, and he's got to knock off the pick sixes. Mm-hmm. You know, those are clear criticisms of him. They're very fair. He knows it, and if he goes out and has another year or leads him to 10 wins, which is very possible, then I think he's earned the right to be number 3.
Agree.
Cool.
Hell, he could go higher. Who knows?
Yep.
All right. This one's from Jake. And he says he's got a question for me. He's got a question for you. Jake
Glendenning, the son of a dirt late model legend, Paul Glendenning of Mount Ayr, Iowa.
Oh. I'll start with yours, Williams. One thing Iowa athletics does that you wish Iowa State would copy/institute. And he asked the same thing for me, but the opposite way.
You sell beer at games.
It's pretty easy for you.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you'd copy?
Well, especially I noticed this with Cyhawk basketball last year, and I really envied it. And Iowa State has this, but it's secluded into the Johnny's sports bar thing. Carver Hawkeye had a great pregame atmosphere, and there were actually people there, which helped. But it was really cool. They had bar top tables all around the concourse, people just sitting around, sipping on their Confluence, and it was cool. And I was thinking, God, could you imagine one of those Saturday afternoon 3 p.m. tips in the Big 12? I don't want people pissed drunk, throwing shit onto the floor.
No, Pollard doesn't think any Iowa State fan can handle their alcohol.
Could you imagine if these people had an opportunity to drink 2 Busch Lights before the game and just hang out up there? Now, the one issue I think is Hilton's concourse is just so tight. I think they'd have a really hard. At Carver Hawkeye, it's huge, the concourse. But it's so weird, but they kind of have to have it because they don't have an upper deck, and it's weird. But I really, really envied that. Like, I thought that was really cool. And it's hard for me to compliment Carver Hawkeye. It was a nice feel. The football thing, obviously. But, like, I was just thinking, like, specifically for Iowa State basketball, how cool that would be.
For me, how is it? How did he word it, Aiden? Can you throw that back up there again? Because I think I have two responses. The wording is, what the one thing Iowa State athletics does that you wish Iowa would copy / institute. I mean, obviously, I wish Iowa had the student support that Iowa State does in basketball for the Hawks Nest. But that's not really something Iowa State does. That's what they have. Like the students do that. They show up, and maybe Iowa State basketball will get it. A thing that Iowa State can control, I guess, is more transparency from the athletic department. And I think we're seeing a little bit more of that from Beth Getz, who's doing a fantastic job. But I've always thought that the Iowa State athletic department, the way they go about things, is so much better than the way Iowa has over the last 20 to 30 years. It's a lot of secrecy, not a lot of straightforward answers, a lot of, we're too good for that. I'm not saying I want Beth Getz to be out there being as outspoken as Jamie Pollard, because I think Jamie does that, and he started that out of necessity. Like, he needed to do that. Beth Getz doesn't need to do that, but I think just a little bit more transparency, openness, availability from the athletic department compared to the last 20 to 30 years. Yeah,
and to echo that, like, I do think Iowa's trying really hard.
I do too.
To get better there. I think that
and they have gotten better.
They're night and day better than they were 5 years ago.
Oh God.
And I think that the basketball change will help it a lot. You know, I don't think Fran McCaffrey was especially like pushing to be out there. Like,
it was a whole vibe, really. It wasn't just when I was covering the team.
Ferentz was like a
Iowa
henchman there for a while. Like,
it was.
You always respected him, but man, it was his way or the highway.
Right. It was when you went to Iowa State. They, for the most part, they would kind of roll out the red carpet and treat you like a professional. Treat you like, oh, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. You can help us out. We can help you out. Glad you're here. Yeah, we'll move this so that you can do this story here or talk to this person over here. At Iowa, it was like, we'll take you or leave you. Like, we don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You should feel honored to have the privilege of coming to Iowa City and covering us and getting parking tickets while you're inside talking to our players and coaches. I don't think it's that way anymore. I mean, this was, I'm talking from 2007 to 2012 that's how it was. I think Iowa has, the vibe has changed a little bit over there.
Oh, can I get your press box while we're at it if we're just making requests? Can I get the Kinnick press box up in Ames?
Oh, yeah. The Iowa State
fans don't care about that, but God,
holy
that'd be
shit.
At least it's air conditioned now.
You know what? That's another that goes exactly to what I was saying, though. So Iowa built that new press box in 2006, right before I started working at Channel 13. And so if you went to cover a football game at Iowa State and you were a part of the local TV media, you were invited to go up to the Iowa State press box before the game, during the game, after the game, hang out all you want. We've got food for you. We've got coffee, drinks. Mm-hmm. Please, you're invited. Everyone went up there and did it. You got a pregame meal and all that. At Iowa, even though the press box is 10 times as big, they would not allow the TV reporters, the photographers, to go up there. You couldn't go up there and have a pregame meal, and maybe that's changed. But they had this in the bowels of Kinnick. They had this one room that all the photographers and TV people had to go into, and they would cram like 40 people in there and give you these sandwiches that came in a cooler of ice, that the ice would melt and your sandwich was all wet, and it's like at Iowa State you're getting like a nice meal. Mm-hmm. And those were the differences. Those were the differences in covering the two teams.
It always reminded me of I did a little bit of Major League Baseball stuff in my previous job, because not big time, but like I would go to spring training for a couple weeks and do shows. And the Royals was like covering Iowa State. They like, oh, you want Trey Hillman? Oh, you want Billy Butler? Come on over. Like, they were just great. You go to the Cardinals, and they could not have been bigger assholes. Like, it was. I'll never forget that. I went my first, because I flew from Florida to, from Arizona to Florida, because I had been with the Royals for like a week and a half or whatever, and then I flew to Jupiter. Went to Jupiter for the Cardinals, and I thought that I was like, oh, this is the greatest job ever. I want to cover Major League Baseball for the rest of my life. And then I met Tony La Russa. And I realized that I was not in reality when I was hanging out with the Kansas City people, because it was small town. Yeah, it did. But I know enough people in Iowa now, especially in their media relations. I really think they're trying.
Well, you've got a lot of the people that were there when I were there have retired or moved on.
I think that they're
got
making
an infusion
progress
of younger people there, and a lot of things have turned over.
Iowa State's at a weird spot right now, too. They got to watch it from not becoming what Iowa was. Like, they just got to watch it. They're not there. They try really hard. Their media relations folks are great, but you got a coach that's been there 10 years now. Matt's over it. He doesn't feel the need to. They're at an all-time high. Mm-hmm. And Ferentz was like this at one point when they were going to BCS games and stuff like that. Like, that was when that program really clenched its fist.
Right.
And then, and you got a basketball program that's perennially in the top 15 right now. So it'd be really easy for, if I would go the total opposite. It's kind of like what we're doing when we just hired Jake Brend at Cyclone Fanatic. Everybody's laying everybody off. Like, we're to the opposite. Like, we're putting all our chips in. Our best coverage of the Cyclones ever will be right now. Because nobody else is doing it. So, like, let's just crush the market. Let's just do our thing. If I were one of these, I would, like, they're all, like, cutting, like, everything that they do with the media, where they need to realize that people, like, that's how they connect to their programs. That's how they want to go out and buy tickets and do all this stuff. I would go over the top. Like, come into football practice, shoot it. That's what I would do. But none of these coaches will ever let that happen. Right. But I would give them so much access that they don't know what to do with. And just invite everybody. Oh, Chris and Chris, you want to come do a show from the sideline of our spring scrimmage? Go for it.
They won't do that because they know they don't have to.
Yeah,
exactly. And they know they can probably make money by doing it other ways, by selling things.
Okay, Game Day Men's Health, shout out to them. I'm going to, this is Tuesday when we're recording this. I'm going to go get my because I got to be fully teed up when I see Hassel this week. Game Day Men's Health with locations in Ankeny, West Des Moines. Also over in our Eastern Iowa, Hawks and Clones. Got some Panthers over there in North Liberty. That's where Doc goes. Doc's on the tee. Great episode of Legends and Listeners this week. You should check that out. Lystico swears by the tee at Game Day Men's Health. Also, them daggum Kaburskis got some much-needed rain earlier in the week. These lawns are going to freshen right up. You should hire the Kabursky brothers for your landscaping if you want to do a project here mid to late summer. That'd be great. We did ours in August last year, and it looked awesome. Come back up real nice this spring. The Kabursky brothers lawn care. Let's do a couple more questions here on a mailbag installment of Chris and Chris. Caleb. Oh, this is fun. What's the one piece of sports memorabilia you wish you could add to your collection? I have one.
Okay.
Aiden, see if you can find this. So I collect diecast race cars. This was passed down to me from my uncle. When he died, I inherited like thousands of them. And I've had a collection myself, and now like after he died, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a family thing. So like if my daughters have kids, like they're going to get, this is going to be our thing. I have a white whale.
The white whale.
It's a Dale Earnhardt car. It's a diecast car. There were only like 100 of them made, and it was sponsored by Brooks and Dunn, the country band.
This is Dale Sr.?
Dale Sr. So, and that part of that deal in that documentary we talked about is about how smart he was with his brand. Mm-hmm. And so he made just a killing on merchandise. Like they were putting that iconic number 3 on everything. He was the guy who started this diecast car thing, was Dale Earnhardt. And that's most of what I have from my uncle. Like he was obsessed with Dale Sr. And so I have one. It's a gold. I'm looking at it right now. It's in a case right next to me. It's a gold Dale Earnhardt car. It's worth like $5,000. This is the Brooks and Dunn Dale Earnhardt diecast.
So did he race in this car?
I believe he did for like one of those like I don't know. I think it was like a special type of race. It was like the Winston or like the All-Star race or something. But this car is worth. This might be the most valuable diecast on the planet because you just
like
can't find
what's it worth?
I don't know. Look it up, Aiden. 10,000. I don't know.
How big is that? What is that? Like a foot?
It's a 1 point. Well, I mean, it'd be like this big.
Okay.
Yeah, 1/24 scale diecast, so it's 1/24 of the actual car.
Brooks and Dunn.
A Brooks and Dunn Dale Earnhardt.
Well, I want the Jeff Gordon George Gay diecast car.
Okay, so this one you can buy for $130. That's not the like prime.
What?
So that's.
I thought you were gonna say this was like $1 million.
No, so this one right here though is there's multiple like aspects of these cars. So there's like the basic one, and then there's like the premier ones that have all the details and stuff like that. That's the one I'm talking about. But that would be. I should just buy the fake one. Nobody would even know. Dude, my buddy Carper, you know Adam Carper? Mm-hmm. He was at an auction one time, like a fundraiser thing, and he bought a Michael Jordan framed like jersey, and he spent, a really good chunk of money on it, a couple thousand bucks.
Like a game-worn jersey?
Yeah, and it's like framed. I think it was out of Prairie Meadows. It was some fundraiser. And it's like authenticated and all this stuff. And he found out after the fact it's a fake.
Oh, God.
And
well, it's, it looks the part.
You know that iconic? Yeah, it's a 1998 Winston. Oh, so he never got to drive it because of licensing issues. That's why there were only like 100 of them made.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that would be it. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm having a hard time coming up with one, but the first thing that came to mind was like a Jordan jersey, or I think it'd be really cool to get a worn Sunday red Tiger Woods polo or shirt from one of the majors he won or one of the tournaments he won. I think that would be really cool to have. And frame that son of a bitch. You could just smell his sweat. Yeah. That would be cool.
Is he your favorite athlete of all time?
It's Tiger and Jordan, and boy, I'd probably put Tiger just ahead, just because he came along a little bit later. Like Jordan was doing shit before I even was born, before I even started watching the NBA. So I really only got his, that run from 91 to 98. That's really all I got. With Tiger, that thing started in 96 with the U.S. Amateur and rolled all the way for over 20 years basically. So I would put Tiger just because I watched him more, the longevity of it.
Yeah, it's hard to, when you were a kid our age, it's hard to top the connection we had to Jordan. I mean, I just remember how big of a deal every playoff game was. Mm-hmm. Like we would watch WGN on Saturday nights just to watch the intros. Mm-hmm. Like you had to be there for the intro.
It was awesome.
And then for me, it was probably Chipper, right? Just because I watched so much Braves baseball and he never played for another team. So just like, yeah, those are
get some Chipper Jones used chew. Just a chaw from Chipper.
I did get my friend Brant. Brant lives down in Atlanta, and he's at the same country club as Chipper. And Chipper signed a hat for me, sent in the mail a couple months ago. Thought that was kind of nice. Chipper here. All right, let's do one more. Adam, what live sports event that you haven't been to before would you go to if money and time isn't an obstacle?
It rolls right into what I said for the last question, and wanting like a Tiger Woods Sunday Red worn shirt. It's the Masters, and it's because
we're gonna get you there someday.
I love it, and it's so exclusive. Like you can't just go.
Yeah,
you've got to get a little lucky. You got to have some ins. And if I really, really, really tried, I could probably get in eventually. But that's the one that somebody said, hey, we're going. That's the one thing I'd be like, we're doing it.
Mine would be the same reason, and it's not even because it's the best sporting event. And in fact, like the actual race itself sucks.
Wait, you've never been to the Daytona 500?
No, I was going to say the Monaco. I haven't been to the Daytona 500.
You haven't been to Daytona either?
I've been to Daytona, but not the 500. The 500's always during Big 12 basketball. It's always in the middle of February. I just can't go to it. That's like the busiest time of the year for me. So I've been to the Daytona summer race before, which is really cool. Daytona's awesome. I've been to Indy. I haven't been to the Indy 500. I've been to the NASCAR race there. But it would be go to the Monaco.
You want to talk about expensive?
Yeah, well, money's not an option. That's why.
That's what Adam said.
And you and me, Hassel, we're going to be on a yacht.
Wow.
You know, where the cars come around.
Yeah.
We're going to be sitting there in our own little dive bar. In our
a Monaco dive
pinkies
bar.
Up in the air. I'm not. I'm just going to drink some Busch Light, but you can drink.
They won't have Busch Light in Monaco.
Do they even have beer? It'd probably be that like fancy Italian beer. The
only
Peroni.
champagne.
Wouldn't that be cool though to be in Monaco for the F1 weekend?
It would. Hell yeah.
Money can't be an option though, because we would lose our life savings in a night there. Like it just be like boom, it's gone. Like the hotel rooms and stuff,
and it's gone.
Yeah. And again, like it's less about like, oh, I want a really great view of the race. No, I just want to stand on a yacht while the F1 cars are going by me. That's it.
What about an event in the United States? Would it be the Daytona 500?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know though. I hate that race.
The Iowa Corn Indy 250.
I really enjoy. It would probably be to go to the Indy 500, I guess. But like, I've been to so many races, and they all kind of are the same to me. Like I do it for the atmosphere. Like if you really want to watch a race, the best thing would be to just watch it on TV. It would probably be for me. I know what it would be if the Braves are hosting a World Series game. That would be it for me.
Go back to old Fulton County Stadium.
Tomahawk chop, like that atmosphere. Like the Braves have a great playoff baseball atmosphere. And like, what would I be most passionate about? That would be it. If the Braves were host, I should have done it in 21. Like I knew I would kick myself for it down, and it was stupid. I could have afforded to go. I just didn't make time, you know? Like I should have gone when they played the Astros in the World Series and just fucking gone. My buddy Adam Gray did. He went down there and just, I don't even know if he went to the game. He just hung out in the Battery and watched the games. But it's like,
did they allow full crowds in 21 for the?
Yeah, we were there
by that time.
Yeah. But I mean, I remember everything about that night. I had this really expensive, fancy bottle of Old Forester, like a really rare one. Drank the shit out of it that night. I stayed up till 3 a.m. with my buddy Tim Mullen from Nebraska Furniture Mart. We were on Zoom together, watching the game together. Gray was on we had so much fun. Like there's few things that get my blood, like a really good Braves game in the playoffs. But yeah, it's funny too that I went to baseball because I don't even watch baseball that much. Like I'm way more into the Vikings, like on a day-to-day basis, than I am the Braves. But it all goes back to our childhood, though. Like what was right? You know what I'm saying?
To a point, but I'm not choosing a Cubs game. I mean, I loved the Cubs as a kid. Baseball was my favorite sport. I love the Bulls. I'm not choosing the Bulls NBA Finals.
No, not anymore. The Bulls aren't. What are the Bulls, like the fourth most popular team in Chicago now? The Blackhawks are more popular. The Cubs are more popular.
Man, that's a good question. I mean, the Bears, obviously.
Bears are definitely more popular.
They just haven't been good for so long. It's just,
and they've had like teams that aren't even like likable.
Yeah.
The Thibodeau teams were like good, but like, and then the Hoiberg era was a disaster. Billy Donovan's just treading water, and they've never had like any players that just really like, oh, I want to go watch that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time I see you, I will be at your house.
All right. Safe travels.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. This was fun. I hope you enjoyed.
A lot of questions. A lot of good questions we didn't get to.
We'll do another one of these in the next couple weeks. How about that? I think people genuinely like these shows. It's a nice break from talking about the college football playoff and
NIL. Transfer
All right.
portal.
He's Chris Hassel, Aiden Wyatt producing for us today. Thanks for hanging out with us on Iowa Everywhere.